Today we're going to be looking at the first offering from CD Projekt's new development unit, Red Studio. Leave your linguistic prescriptivism at the door for The Witcher. Now, I've been really looking forward to this RPG, so I was a little bit nervous about firing it up, but I am pleased to say I wasn't disappointed. The cinematic introduction was beautiful, with genuinely breathtaking scenery, good storyboarding and excellent music. To be honest, the graphics, while not bad for this kind of game, are certainly not the best, and we had some flickering and blockiness on the higher settings, but the aesthetics and the artwork are very good, and so the visual presentation comes over well regardless. And this continues into gameplay, again with backgrounds being particularly impressive and detailed, and still pretty good looking on lower settings. The characters can look a little clunky, but are by no means bad. Generally, the way you move around in the world is pretty satisfying and quite easy to get the hang of. You can toggle between 3 different camera options, 2 isometric and 1 over the shoulder, and the choice of mouse and keyboard or just mouse control, so you should be able to find something to suit you. I find it most comfortable to move around in OTS mode and then switch out to isometric in combat. Do read the manual though, as there are useful keys that aren't mentioned in the training stages, such as the F key, which turns you 180 degrees, thus bypassing the slow camera panning, which can be a bit of a pain in combat. As for the combat system, generally it's pretty good. You aim and click with the mouse to start a sequence of attacks, and then have to time subsequent clicks correctly to chain them. Get the timing wrong, and your opponent can get one in. It offers a decent compromise between an RPG-style turn-based system and a more immersive style without being mouse mashing. That said, there is a bit of a delay between you clicking and your character acting, which feels rather disjointed, and until you get used to it, makes you want to click more than you should, thus interrupting your own attacks. The real strength lies in the different types of attacks which you can choose to use against different types of opponent, strong, fast and groups. And the fact that, while most defense is handled automatically according to your stats, you can also dodge. You also have certain magical attacks called signs, which add variety and inventiveness. And so to the big thing, the actual story. Now, the game is based on the long-established dark medieval fantasy world created by the Polish author Sapkowski, and you can really feel a lot of depth behind it. The characters are well developed and gesture towards backstory we won't come close to seeing all of in the game. You also get the much grittier, more realistic social experience that the books are known for. Your character will get screwed over and be the subject of irrational prejudice. Even the term Witcher is actually a derogatory one. Also, the choices you have to make are often more morally grey than you usually experience in a game, and the non-linear style, with 3 possible endings, means those choices matter. And as consequences often don't emerge until many chapters down the line, then you're really forced to live with them rather than just reverting to a previously saved point in the game. Now, this might seem like a simple trick, but it's actually really effective in making your decisions seem weighty, and you do get the sense that paths are closing off to you as you take your character in a particular direction. Although there is no character creation and little in the way of funky armour and weapon modding that many RPGers adore, the character development does allow for a lot of subtle variation between different Geralts. Levelling up is standard stuff, but echoing the narrative style, there is a real choice on offer and you make real decisions about your path. The structure is surprisingly subtle. For example, with regards to combat, as well as being able to develop your basic stats in dex and strength, you can also develop your individual fighting styles, so there are a lot of possible combinations. There are a few complaints though. The game crashed on me a couple of times when I was playing, and it seems that this isn't that uncommon, although there are patches you can download for it. Also, while the voice acting in general is pretty good, then the American accents seem a little bit out of place, as does the repeated use of the word babe. That said, the dialogue is generally okay, and there are even some funny moments, like when Triss says she can sense magic. Overall, this is a deep, well put together and well presented game with around 40 to 50 hours of playing time, not to mention the replayability thanks to the story branching. If you're a fan of the genre, it is definitely worth checking out. 4 stars. And we have more episodes on our website over at playdigital.tv, and you can also check out some of our other shows on the network at channelflip.com.